I'm just turning my sound off. So,
Should be on the top of the safe and volume.
No, it's not.
I'll check again after.
there we
This
go.
will work for now.
My pleasure to call to order the regular meeting of the Village of Cache Creek this November 17th, 2025. We do have a delegation today, Carolyn Slade from Dawson Road Maintenance. She's the new quality manager and she wanted to come and introduce herself to all of us. Hello!
Hello. Thank you for having me tonight. Like I said, my name is Caroline Slade. I'm the new quality manager. I've been in my seat for 6 months now, so still fresh. I just wanted to show face, kind of get to know everybody in each little area, give out my business contacts so that if you guys have any questions or concerns or anything you want me to bring back to my team, you can reach out to me directly and I will follow up. So I'll just give you guys the cards real quick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And while I'm here today, if you have any questions for me to take back to my team, by all means, I will follow up with an email to you guys and just let you know what the plans are if you have any questions. So, any questions for Dawson?
Kelly?
I do have one comment, the intersection for, what, 97?
Highway 97.
I'm sure
Yes,
you're well aware.
our problem child. Yeah. So that intersection this year has been a struggle. We, ministry came at us, didn't have the money for paving, so we went ahead with spray patching. Unfortunately, we had warranty work on that spray patching as well from the first time around. What our plans are is, right now, there's not a whole lot we can do with it coming into winter. Our plans are kind of drop our blades a little lower in that area and try and smooth out that intersection a little bit more, but we are looking at it in the spring of being reassessed and possibly repaved. I know ministry had mentioned just the other day that it's definitely in the works on their end to have that intersection repaved. So apologies and thank you for your patience with us on that intersection. I know it's been nothing but problems since we did it. So
Yeah, you see the semis trying
Oh,
to avoid them.
oh, do I ever?
There's nothing you can avoid.
No, and that's just it. It's the entire width. It's the entire span. Like there's not even a route around it. So, yeah, we're fully aware. Understand. Bad idea. Not gonna do it again. But yeah, in the spring it'll definitely be reassessed, and I know that ministry's got some plans. Yes, absolutely. We're not leaving it like that. No, we have to get through winter first. So we're hoping we can flatten it out a little bit over winter.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Other questions for Mrs. Slade? Councillor Dubois?
Yes, as you know, we have the new Tim Hortons in town.
Yes.
We've been seeing a number of accidents happening around that intersection to get in there, so I would suggest it's something that should be identified as a fairly high priority when it is coming to road maintenance and clearing, simply because I'd be concerned that people are accelerating and everything like that, and it's just going to be an area of concern.
Okay. Don't mind me. I forgot my pen and paper, so I'm just taking notes on my phone.
No worries.
It's all good.
Which is great because my superintendent lives down that road for this area, so she will
probably
have
knows.
eyes on that corner for sure.
Yes.
Any other questions for Mrs. Slade? Seeing none, thank you very much for coming. It's nice to see you.
Thank you very much. And like I said, if you have any questions or anything after I go, just give me an email or give me a shout, and I will bring it to my team and get you an answer as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me.
Safe travel home.
Thank you.
Sorry about the delay in getting started here.
That was my bad. I'm sorry.
It's all good. I drove down from 100 miles, so I get the treacherous drive right
Yeah.
now. Totally.
There's probably snow Clinton area.
Not
or
yet.
Not yet. No.
Fog's starting now in Clinton, but it's still rain out there. We're not supposed to get snow till about midnight tonight, so. Thank you. Have a great
Yeah.
day.
Happy
Okay. Take
trails.
care, guys. Thank you.
We have the minutes of the November 3rd meeting. Could I have a motion to adopt as circulated?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Is there any business arising from the delegation? Seeing none.
Mayor?
Yeah, oh,
I'm just wondering, seeing as we have the new contact, and given our previous discussions that we've had with the ministry and safety concerns and everything like that, I wonder if we want to make sure that we're sending that updated information to Ms. Slade.
Yeah, just to fill her in on that.
Make sure she's aware of what's going on.
thank you. Any other business arising from the delegations or from the minutes? Seeing none, committee reports, economic development, Councillor Dubois.
Nothing to report at this time. Did we
If
point,
I-
did we vote on the minutes?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, my apologies, sorry.
Mayor Ranta, if I may?
Yes,
Mayor
Councillor
Ranta,
Peters.
Mayor Ranta, Councillor Dubois, and I attended the Gold Country Awards soiree on Saturday night, and Cash
Me
Creek.
too.
I said you.
Oh,
We had some good winners from Cash Creek. The Cash Creek Market won, Grub Steak Market, Heidi Roy, Marley's Den, Cal Tire, and Graffiti Days all won in their categories, and Bear Spa got a honorable mention. And the Cash Creek Visitor Center was nominated, but because Desert Mesa runs it and Desert Mesa was tallying the votes, they took their name out of it, but it's too bad because they would have won a couple of awards. They had the winning number of votes, but they felt it wasn't right that they were counting the votes and then they won. So congratulations to
that's the
all.
way I like to do it.
Congratulations to all of those who were nominated and all of those who won.
And thank you. Yeah, it was a good event. Budget and administrative services. I would move that we approve the village office closing from December 22nd to 26th inclusive, and close at noon on December 31st and for the day on January 2nd, so it gives everybody a long weekend.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. On to bylaw and policy review, Councillor Ranta.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so on item number 1, the council give final consideration to and adopt bylaw number 6-009 zoning amendment 2025. I move.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you.
And number 2, I move the recommendation on the agenda that council give first, second, and third reading to bylaw number 2-022 2025 utility rates 2026.
Second?
Any discussion? I guess the only discussion I have is at some point I think we need to begin holding the line on utility rates and taxes for that matter. So I'll be voting against this motion, but I don't expect it to fail. Any further discussion?
And just in favor of the motion, I'll speak on that. I think that in light of the high level of inflation, that it is unreasonable to have a utility rate increase to reflect the cost of service. This will prevent us from having to do, much higher increases in the future to make up for lost ground and try to keep up with inflation. The council is doing everything possible to keep the increases to a reasonable amount so that it doesn't pressure the taxpayers in the community and the service users. We recognize that I think everyone around the table would love to be able to have a 0% increase every year. However, that's just not doable, and so I think that the recommended increase is a reasonable one, and I support it.
Thank you. Yeah, I think when we talked about it, it was, 4.95% or
Yeah.
something like that?
I was just
So-
gonna say that.
Yeah. Oh, you were gonna say that?
Yeah, the blended amount was just under 5%, so, for water, sewer, and garbage.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be maybe a reasonable thing to have, staff just go over the proposal, just with all the information in front of them right now. It might be a good time for that.
We can take a moment to touch on it. I'll just go to the actual pages here. Just gonna find it. Yeah, so in general, there's the proposed increase of 4.95% across the board, so that's the blended amount that represents, I think it was,
Garbage and sewer.
yeah, it was 10, 7, and 0, is that correct? Yeah, so 10% increase for garbage, 7% for wastewater, and then a 0% increase for water. So with all that blended together, it comes to 4.95 over the actual utility bill. There was also some cleanup done in the actual, like the other things that are done with the bylaw. For example, there were changes to water supplied from hydrants. So for bulk water purchases, there was some language put in there for that. We did have that before, but the wording wasn't great, and we were either netting out 0 or sometimes losing based on the actual sale and the time that it takes to do it for staff. So we changed the rates and how it's billed. The after hours, like outside of normal hours, didn't have to change. We did a calculation to determine if our current rates cover the amount for an after hours call out, and we're still good there. So the call out fees still remain at $200 per 2-hour block, plus $68.50. So, and then in there, the only other changes were just some, there were some wording changes with connection fees. So we changed the language for connection fees. So say we have somebody that's installing a new connection to our system from, say, a house that they're building or something to that effect. There was some change in the language that allowed that we can do it ourselves or hire a contractor, and the person doing the connection would be on the hook for that. It used to be just us, but sometimes that can be challenging, having the time in a timely manner to meet their needs. But secondary to that, also, if there was a large development or something, say for example, like when the Tim Hortons was installed, it's a little bit more complex doing the connection for that. So it's usually better to have a skilled contractor come in and have a little bit of site oversight by our team. So this allows us to do that effectively. And then also allows for us to review their designs to make sure they're compliant with our bylaws. And the only other thing that had a slight change is multiple garbage cans, because there's a handful of multiple garbage can residences in the community, and the way that the language read previously, if somebody had, say, like most of the people at the table here, have one garbage can, but if you wanted a second one, you would simply pay a deposit and there'd be no way for the village to bill you more. So you'd be able to have twice as much garbage, but only pay the same rate as everyone else. So we just simply put that in the actual language that if somebody has multiple bins, they're just charged the same amount twice. So with this going to first, second, and third reading, with those people specifically, we're going to be reaching out and leaving communication with them to say, hey, this change is coming forward. Let us know if you still want your can or if you don't, so that we can get things cleared up before January. This way it's all sorted out. And that's a very small amount but we've been noticing that that's increasing. Like we used to, like when I started, we only had one. And then since I've been here, now we're at around 10. So there's more people wanting to make more garbage. So,
I don't want
It's just a lucky thing we've got a landfill in town.
yeah.
some of us make up for it. I only put mine out once a month.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's kind of where things are at, and we put that language in there to support that, and then we capped it at 2. So our residents can't have more than 2 cans, period. Yeah.
The only thing that caused my eyebrow to raise is I don't see anywhere it's got a fee for water turn on after normal hours and water turn off after normal hours.
Mhm.
I think the old bylaw used to say water turn on and off during regular hours, no charge. Maybe it didn't, I don't know. I expected to see it, but it's not here anymore if it was there before.
Yeah, I feel like I remember that as well. Maybe I erased it by accident. Like there isn't, for clarity for everyone, there isn't a charge during regular hours.
Yeah, it just doesn't say that.
Yeah, it just doesn't say that. So we
I
can
think
make
it
that
should.
change. Yeah,
Okay,
certainly.
you can do that?
Absolutely.
Good, thank you.
That, yeah, I thought that was in there. Good catch.
Do we need to do that as a motion?
We can if you want.
It's probably best.
How do you wish it to read?
I move that the water, what is it?
Turn on and off.
To add the,
That the water Schedule A, the Schedule A, be amended to reflect that water turn on or turn off, there's no charge during regular business hours. And I so move.
Second.
I'll second.
Holy mackerel, long distance seconder.
I'm gonna put Carmen, because she tried.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, carried, okay.
That was for the amendment.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now you have the.
on the motion as amended. Any discussion? All those in favor, opposed, carried,
Whoa, whoa.
okay, we're cooking.
First. Yay.
Thank you, Councillor Ranta. Public Works, Councillor Diebert.
Well, on the weekend, Dave and Damien and myself met down at the sewer plant and had a bit of a discussion. Some of it over what the Public Works would like to see changes made. So right now it's just in a discussion stage. Some prices will be put together and we'll have another meeting and bring it back to council.
Thank you. Healthcare and Protective Services, Councillor Ranta.
There's nothing new to report.
Thank you. Emergency Management, Councillor Peters.
Nothing at this time?
Thank you. Parks and Recreation, Councillor Ranta.
We are working on a park plan that will be in a consultation process in the future with the community. The council will see it. It's still in development. Also, we had one meeting that included discussion of the coverall, and we are still in discussion on the coverall.
Thank you.
And we do have a meeting planned coming up, well, not, the date hasn't been finalized in time, but. we're
Just
planning to
confirming.
meet here.
That sounds good. Thank you. Landfill Advisory Committee, I have nothing to report at this time. On to TNRD and Intergovernmental Liaison. Just if I can, based on the last meeting of the TNRD, I thought I would share with you this document which shows the costs for the variety of services that the TNRD provides, and it results in a $73.73 per 100,000 of assessed value being charged to residents in Cache Creek. For the highest one is solid waste management, $41.74, and then the library, $14.35, and it goes down from there to Fraser Basin Council, which is 5 cents per 100,000. So what they talked about at the last meeting was a proposed tax increase of 9.74%. I didn't exactly fall off my chair, but I felt like I was just about to.
You kind of wobbled a bit?
Yeah, that's right. And so I talked about it and told them that in my opinion, as I'm accustomed to doing, in my opinion, a 9.74% tax increase at this time when the inflation rate is whatever it is, 2.7% or something, seems a little unreasonable to me.
It's 2.2 today.
Eh?
2.2 today, the inflation rate.
Oh, 2.2 today, okay. Well, that I could handle if their tax increase was proposed to be 2.2, but they implied during the discussion, there was an extensive budget presentation, they implied that 9.74% tax increase was without taking into consideration the impact of the 2 union contracts that have yet to be negotiated. And I suggested to them that the average over 5 years was 6.56%. So I think their tax increase should be adjusted in some manner so that it's not 9.75% and it's closer or less than the 6.56%. And I did get a phone call from the CAO while I was at Kip Mallory or something getting a COVID shot. And he suggested to me that the amount of impact from the union agreements would not amount to an increase over the 9.74 because they had already included that, although it didn't say that and he didn't want to say that. But that he felt that they would be able to come in closer to the 6.56 that I suggested rather than the 9.74. So I am interested to see how close they come to that, or less than that. On to the TNRD board meeting highlights. I would move that we receive and file the board meeting highlights.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And there was a hospital district meeting, and I move that we receive and file the hospital district board meeting highlights.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. We've got, amazingly, the Cache Creek School 150th anniversary. I think it was Charles Augustus Semlin that who became the premier, but at the time he suggested that the school in the interior, because the Cache Creek School was the first school, I think, in outside of the Lower Mainland, and he lobbied hard to have it located in Cache Creek, which it was, and this is the 150th anniversary, so I would move that we receive and file the report provided by Councillor Ranta.
Second.
Discussion?
I would like to move a different motion, but I appreciate that the council has seen the information. It was really exciting to check up on the anniversary. We did have a little bit of a research project with the school district at the 125 anniversary a few years back, and I just was kind of holding my breath waiting for 150, and then I did a little Googling, and oh my gosh, we almost missed it. So I thought I'd better put it on the agenda. It's really tricky to recognize historical schools in British Columbia given the history of residential Nations children. However, I think that it's important for our community to recognize this boarding school, which was set up primarily as a school to serve the settler population in our local area, and far and wide students came from Kamloops, from the Fraser Canyon, and the history is really rich, and I really hate to see it go without being recognized. So I'm actually hoping to move that the council commissions a small plaque for the recognition of this to hang in the village office from a local craftsperson. I think that probably a maximum of $150 were covered off, just so that this doesn't get lost in kind of the milieu of different things that occur in Cache Creek. I think it's really special that Charles Fennell was able to locate the school here. It didn't come without protest from bigger centers like Kamloops, and that political achievement and just the fact that it existed way back then, I think is really something to celebrate. So that's why I created the little report, and I hope that we can consider doing a little bit more with receive and filing.
Thank you. Well, we've got a motion that's been seconded to receive and file the report, and if you choose to make a motion following that, then I would suggest you go ahead and do that. In the meantime, on the motion that's on the floor to receive and file, any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Councillor Ranta?
I would move that Cache Creek Council allocate up to $150 for a commemorative plaque for the anniversary of Cache Creek School 150th anniversary.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I think I've pretty much described the situation. I think that it's a significant thing in the past history of Cache Creek. We don't have a lot of landmark or land. We don't have a lot of historical initiatives that occurred at that time right in Cache Creek, and I think that remembering this in future generations is really important because it did put us on the map, and I think that it's really special that it's 150th anniversary.
Thank you, Councillor Ranta. Any discussion on the $150 plaque? It likely won't be made out of brass, I don't think. CAO Kojerian.
I was just gonna ask, is it $150 because it's 150 years? Sorry, bad joke. Carrying on.
It's all good. Any further discussion?
Interesting observation. You know what? Sometimes go to the Cache Creek Market, and there's amazing woodworkers that are local that have laser engravers, and that's sort of the vision I have in my head, and I think that, that I don't think we need solid bronze or anything like that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. On to School District 74 news release. There's a recommendation that council send letters to newly elected co-chairs of the board, Larry Casper and Carmen Ranta, also congratulating Trustee Ranta on her election as the BCPC representative, and congratulating, I presume in a separate letter, Trustee Val Adrian on her election as BCSTA Provincial Council representative, and I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And School District 74, I would move that we receive and file the November 2025 School District 74 Board Bulletin.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. On to Cache Creek Community Fund, Councillor Dubois.
The only thing to report is that we're just working on, setting up a time for a meeting sometime in the next week or so to go over some applications that we have before us.
Thank you. On to staff reports, the 2025 payments for October on pages 36 to 38. I would move that council receive and file the report on the October 2025 payments provided by CFO Martini.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, carried. We have 2 items of information correspondence. I would move that we receive and file the items in information correspondence.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor, opposed, carried. Is there any new business? Councillor Dubois?
It's come to my attention over the past week that there's been a number of incidents at the Cache Creek Park in regards to dogs, and I think it's becoming a little bit of a critical situation, and I would like to suggest that we need to look at an opportunity to addressing it. And I think one of the things that we would need to look at doing is creating an off-leash area for dogs in the annex, in the park annex. It doesn't need to be a dog park. It just needs to be a place where people can access it and kind of put up signage to say, if you want to take your dogs off leash, that's an area to go, rather than having situations where there's people running their dogs off leash. We've had incidents of people getting bit. There's issues with the hygiene with the various dog poop and everything like that. So I think it's something that we really need to look at addressing, and I think we've got a wasted asset in the park annex that we really need to do something with.
Yeah, I know we looked into, Lions Club were involved with it, and there were a number of entities involved, probably 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest problem was they wouldn't let us do a dog park because we couldn't put anything permanent in there, even.
But I think it's important to understand it's not a dog park.
Yeah.
It's an off-leash area that people can just go and run their dogs.
Yeah.
We're not saying it's a dog park. All it is a gate to get in there, and people can walk there and take their dogs there rather than having them run their dogs in the park. And I think it's the only investment would be to put a gate that people would be able to access and signage indicating that's where they need to go. I think it's a very low-cost item that could eliminate a lot of risk and potential for harm, rather than having a lot of conflict that I see happening right now between people walking the park and dog owners and giving them an
Mayor
opportunity.
Ranta.
Councillor Ranta.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Dubois, for bringing this up. I think it's really important that we make a few changes to the park, for supporting the future to be better than what it is right now. I mean, I think staff can develop some kind of support for preventing accidents and having so much misuse of the park with dog owners. I think that is super important and kind of an enforcement role. But I would just like to defer to staff. I believe that our draft park plan that's being developed by the economic development officer and long-range project for the park to improve the park, to also use the annex in different ways. And because it's in development, it's a bit premature to start really implementing anything, but I would just like to defer to staff, because I do believe that off-leash dog use was, if I remember right, one of the uses of the annex, and I'm just not, I don't have the information in front of me, so I'll refer to staff, but I think if maybe it could fill in the gaps there would be really helpful.
Yeah, we hear this complaint a lot here at the office. Enforcement is challenging. We try to enforce where we can. Our bylaw enforcement officer goes there twice a day when he's here. like the day of the week that he's here or the 2 days. The big thing that we've noticed is that it doesn't seem to change behavior. And even though we talk with people, what seems to happen is like members of the public won't say anything to other members of the public. There's the odd time that people do, but there's a general acceptance, which I think is a kind of a big part of the problem. We could do a bit of communication around it as well. But like in terms of signage, Facebook messaging, that sort of thing. Like I certainly think that there's opportunities to shift it, but I think that that's the big thing is there's a public perception that it's acceptable when it isn't. Like it's not allowed based on the bylaws. As far as bylaws go, you are allowed animals in the park, but you are only allowed to have them on a leash. And no animals in the playground, period, on leash or not. And in a general sense, that part is understood, but there's still people that just don't listen. And enforcement is a bit challenging for it just because we only have the enforcement officer 2 days a week during daytime. So if somebody goes at 5 p.m. to walk their dog off leash, there's nobody to enforce it unless we get a phone call and I go down there, right? Like, so it's, there's a bit of a social aspect on the public indicating that it isn't acceptable. And we could do a bit of communication in the form of signage and Facebook messaging. Further to what Councillor Ranta said, it is something that's being discussed in the park plan that's being worked on.
Thank you. Councillor Dubois.
I'd just like to characterize, I think it may be a little incorrect to assume that people are not self-policing. I think if people are in a situation where there is an off-leash dog, you do have an owner, especially if it's an aggressive dog, I think people would be very reluctant to confront an owner that has an off-leash dog that could potentially put themselves at risk or escalate. So I think it's more not that people are accepting, but they're not willing to do that confrontation. And I think they're kind of walking away rather than doing that. And I think, while I appreciate what the bylaw enforcement officer is doing, I think that it's not something that's going to be going away until we actually put it in place. And I think the best that we can do is just give people the opportunity. I'm glad that it's being looked at as part of the recreation's park upgrades or enhancement or plan. I would really encourage that this is something that I would stress is maybe a bit more of a priority and is something that could possibly be done on its own, provided it would align with what the parks plan is going to be. Like I say, I don't think we're talking about a big significant change. It's just a relatively minor kind of access to a gate and signage. I think staff did a fantastic job of opening up the park to get better access to the river recently, so I don't see why they couldn't do something similar to access the annex. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other new business? I guess the one thing that I would mention related to the park annex is, to the best of my knowledge, the park annex is not part of the village of Cache Creek. I don't think it's ever been incorporated within the village boundaries.
It's up for discussion. I agree with you as far as I'm aware. What you're saying is correct. But then some maps have it incorporated, some don't. But then you ask certain organizations, like I've reached out to the TNRD, and some people have said it's in, some people have said that it's not. So
I don't recall it ever having been brought within the village boundaries.
And I've found nothing to that effect.
Yeah, so I would propose a motion that staff investigate the potential of incorporating the park annex within the village boundaries.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? Councillor Dubois?
Not really on the motion, but I'd just like to say is that if it's private property owned by the village, regardless of whether or not it's in the village boundaries or in the TNRD, if we allow people to run their dogs there, that's a decision up to us as a private property owner, regardless of whether or not it's inside of the village or outside. Right. But I think it would be a really good idea to bring that property into the village if it's village owned.
Yeah, I agree, and it's got nothing to do with dogs or anything.
Exactly.
If we own the property, I think we should have it within the village. Yeah. Councillor Deaver.
The only question I would have is the fencing involved.
Why would we need?
Well, there may be because of the way it's stipulated in there, and it is part of the ALR still, I believe. There may be a stipulation on what fencing may be used.
There is,
Instead of chain link, you might be stuck to post.
Oh,
Post and stuff.
that is a requirement.
So
Has to be
that's one
followed.
thing that has to be looked at.
yeah, just look at all the aspects of bringing it to, within the village, and an estimate of the cost would be good. Did we do that by way of motion?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, carried, thank you. Any other new business? Seeing none, questions from the public?
Not a question, but just one more interesting fact about the boarding school history was that Archie McLean and Alex Hare were among the first year alumni. They were part of the Wild McLeans.
Oh, yeah, wow. Neat. Yeah, and I think the first child born outside of the lower mainland or something was the matron at the school for a number of years. Any other questions from the public? Yes?
I had a couple. So you answered the question of the 4.95% blended increase for the utility rates,
Yes,
but I missed the breakdown of that. It was 10%
10,
for,
7, and 0.
right, so 10 for garbage.
Garbage, yeah. 7 for sewer and 0 for water.
And what percentage of the utility rates are being allocated to the respective reserve accounts? Is there anything going into the reserve accounts for these?
There is about $40,000 for water, and the other two we don't allocate because we don't even break even for the operations. So
They're close, but
they are
it's-
close. So we are getting pretty close to breaking even.
Just because we're looking at what garbage truck, I suppose, in the near future, right? And my last question, when are the budget meetings?
When is the budget
Yeah,
meeting?
the budget meetings, are they coming up or
I think we
gone by?
just had
Did we
one.
miss them?
Yeah.
Utilities.
Oh, that was
Budget.
utilities. Budget meeting? When's the next budget meeting?
I'll get the words out now. Probably start having discussions in January, February.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's gotta be adopted sometime in May, but
Yeah.
we'd like to have it in place long before that if possible.
Earlier the better.
Yeah. Any other questions from the public? Questions from the press?
Nothing today.
Thank you. We have need of a closed session pursuant to section 90.1 and 90.2 of the community charter, and I would so move.
Second?
Any discussion?